Bullying. It might start as a joke. You might laugh and play it off until one morning you wake up and you don't even recognize yourself anymore. You might think they're just words with no gravity, but those words, they don't vanish with time. They stay. They echo in your mind when you're lying in bed at 3 a.m. They embed themselves deep within your skin, and no matter how hard you try, you can't get rid of them without crawling out of it. And soon, you start believing them. You start believing you are the problem. That maybe if you were funnier, prettier, smarter, louder, quieter, maybe then they'd stop. I was that kid. After all, the ones who hurt me the most weren't strangers. They were my friends. The ones who'd seen my hardships and chose to add to it. They shoved, whispered, and laughed. They called me names that warped my sense of self. And the world just brushed it off. Kids will be kids, they said. They're just immature. That was the first time I understood the difference between being alone and being lonely. The friends I grew up with, the people I spent half of my day with, the ones who used to feel like home, turned their backs on me. But it's not only those who actively participated in it who are to blame. It's every time someone said, "It's just a joke." Every time they stayed quiet. Every time we saw someone being torn apart and thought, "Thank God it's not me." Every word, every laugh, every look, it all started to sound like the truth. "You're too much. Why is your laugh so annoying? Do you ever stay quiet?" My confidence faded like a candle losing its flame. The girl who used to laugh loudly, who used to speak her mind, didn't recognize her own voice. I started sitting at the back of classrooms and started avoiding eye contact. I smiled less because every time I did, they had a reason to mock it. And slowly, I disappeared. I wasn't just hurt. I was devastated. The ones who'd seen my pain chose to add to it. I felt like I was living behind a glass, watching everyone else move forward while I stayed stuck in this loop of what did I do wrong? My spark, that small thing that made me me, felt snuffed out, like I wasn't enough, or maybe I was too much. It took me years to rebuild what they tore apart, to laugh without second-guessing myself, to speak without trembling, to look in the mirror and not see the names they called me. It wasn't easy, not at all, because my sadness turned to anger, and that was the only emotion I felt for a long time. I was angry at them, at myself, at the world. The society gave them excuses, justified their actions, and abandoned me when I needed someone to stand up for me. But this anger dissolved the day I remembered my grandfather's words. Empathy isn't only for those who were hurt. Sometimes we need to extend it to even those who hurt us by choice, because often their choices are shaped by pain we can't see. On this train of thought, I looked down at the physics textbook lying open, completely forgotten. And it was then that I had an epiphany of sorts. In physics, they say energy can't be created or destroyed, only transferred and transformed. And I think pain works the same way. The pain that isn't transformed is transferred from the oppressed to the oppressor, from generation to generation, until someone decides to stop the cycle. This made me pause, step back and understand. You see, the people who once hurt me were probably carrying their own invisible battles. Perhaps someone had made them feel small, and the only way they knew how to feel big again was by breaking others. And they couldn't transform that pain. So, they passed it on. And I carried it too until I learned that healing isn't about forgetting. It's about transforming what broke you into something that can rebuild someone else. I knew I couldn't continue this cycle of the oppressed becoming the oppressor. And so, I forgave those who had bullied me for 4 long years. I didn't forgive them completely, But I found empathy. The same empathy they never showed me. But if there's one emotion we've stopped being honest about, it's loneliness. Online, loneliness isn't confronted, it's disguised. We hide it under jokes and filters. We mask it with fake confidence and aesthetics. And here's the irony. The very platforms built to make us feel connected often makes us feel the most alone. Because on social media, loneliness feels like a flaw, like a glitch in the matrix. And instead of reaching out, we start comparing. Instead of asking for help, we scroll silently. And when someone else is hurting, we don't comfort them, we just consume it. A double tap, a quick view, and we move on. Loneliness becomes something we overlook in others and something we're ashamed to admit in ourselves. We treat it not as a human emotion, but as an error. Something that should not exist, so we pretend it doesn't. But loneliness doesn't just shrink away because we ignore it. It grows in spaces where we stay silent. And so much of bullying begins with that silence, from unspoken hurt, from empty spaces in people. So, let's fix this paradox. Let's start small. We check on people who seem to be fine. We don't silence ourselves because it seems scary to stand up. We don't laugh when we see someone shrink away. And for the ones who've been bullied, you don't have to forget. You don't even have to forgive. But don't let their words become your truth. Don't shrink yourself to fit into spaces that were never built for your light. You are the author of your story, and no one can dictate how it should go except for you. And for the ones who were the bullies, it's not too late. Ask yourself why. Why did you do it? What part of you is hurting so badly that you needed to see someone else fall? Let's fix that part. And let's heal that wound. Because until you do, you'll keep creating the same pain you're trying to escape. We can't rewrite algorithms overnight. We can't stop every act of cruelty, but we can choose what we add to this world. Every comment, every post, every word you speak, it's data, which can be what heals or hurts someone. You can feed the system hate, or you can feed it understanding. Because empathy shouldn't be selective, and connection shouldn't be artificial. So maybe the next time we see someone being vulnerable, we choose to listen instead of laugh. Maybe the next time we feel small, we choose to speak instead of staying silent. Because the truth is, all of us are carrying energy. Some of it is love, some of it is anger, and what we do with it determines what kind of world we live in. I choose to turn my pain into empathy, and I hope you choose that too. Thank you.